Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's video segment of the Off the Charts Premium. Wanted to jump into what we started last night. Typically on Sundays, I give a bit of an extended video. Usually, I'll find a bunch of new trade ideas and/or give some sort of more eloquent, rather than say long-winded. I'll say eloquent. Market analysis or stock analysis. So it's about 3:55 Eastern time. Market's going to close in about four or 5 minutes here, and you can see market still continues to push higher. And as much as this is still an amazing thing to watch, this is the power of the market, and when it wants to move, it'll move. And regardless of what I or anybody else out there in the world thinks, the market's going to do what the market is going to do. It's our job to try to figure out how we can best assess risk, as it continues to unfold week in, week out, month in, month out. As far as today goes, not much, not a massive change. You can see up from Friday's close, and again, still kind of plugging higher. Really, only, like I said, a bunch of times, only one day pullback here in this whole move. So pretty remarkable. And again, I still think we can either gap up into that upper let's call it that upper resistance area. And again, that's only sort of an area that I'm watching. It's not like I'm going to put on a trade there. Obviously, if we gap up and we start to turn down, and there's some sort of intraday signal, I'll send that out accordingly, potentially for a strategic trade. I covered most of this at length last night. I'm going to get into some of the stocks. No additions tonight. I'm not going to put any new trades out there. Kind of just let what we have continue to develop. And a couple of the trade ideas that I sent out last night in the OTC have triggered. So let's start there. We're going to start with Palo Alto. That's PANW. And again, breaking through the 107.50 today. Good volume to complement that, which is always good to see. So we'll keep everything as is. In the day, in the next day or so, I may move these stops up. Now that we have this breakout, for now, I'm going to leave everything as is. So PANW, nice trade there from the get-go. And if we look intraday, again, here's a 10-minute chart. You can see that strong surge at the open, that pullback, and then that a little bit of follow through intraday there. So nice trade there, in nice start of a trade in PANW. Goldman Sachs GS. Like I said, there's about at this point 1 minute left in the trading day. It's 3:59 my time. We didn't quite get through resistance here at 192. We did come, within a couple of pennies. 190, 187 was today's high, and still continue to build in this base. So we'll watch this one, like I said, in the days ahead for a breakout. Still continues to consolidate, and 192 still continues to look like a barometer of some short-term resistance there. CREE, C-R-E-E, another one that had a nice basing pattern here. Got a nice clean break today of 33.10. So this stock is now officially open, and like I said, I may move these stops up in the next day or so. But for now, all things good there. Nice, nice, healthy, 10-day base. Nice breakout today. That's exactly what you want to see. Now, obviously, I'd like to see this, get back up into the 35 area before potentially consolidating for another push into this 38. This open gap back here. So I'm keeping an eye on that trade, like I said, in the coming days. Apple, no real change today. Very muted session for Apple. Our highs were 109.30 and our lows were 108.60. So, not even a dollar range intraday there, which is, really a surprise. So the contraction still continues here. I talked about this potentially morphing into some other pattern with more time, but for now, stay with the original trade parameters. That was an entry of 108. Stock closed at 108 today, so just a break even there, no real change. What else we got? Walter. Walter, kind of the little engine there that got that nice big pop from 250 to Today's high, which really happened in the first few minutes, 360. If you look at like a 5-minute chart today, here's a 5-minute intraday. You can see that first 5-minute bar, we touched 360 and closed down around 330. So if you think about that, that's a 30-cent range in the first 5 minutes. That's really about a 10% move of the stock in the first 5 minutes of the trading session. So, by the time it had gone lower, we were already well off that intraday high. Here's the daily. So, I think we hit a little bit of a short-term top here. Could we consolidate for a couple of days and digest this whole, upward move? Yes, we could. It would have been nice to have snagged some early profits there, but it just didn't happen. It's hard for me to get out those alerts, all in a matter of, a few minutes. But nevertheless, I do think this one eventually will, maybe pull back a little further and then trade a little higher. So we're going to keep an eye on this one. All in all, still a nice looking trade there. POL, I adjusted the stops up yesterday to 37, which was basically just below break even. Pulling back today, not too far off that 37 mark. So we'll see what happens in the coming days here. Worst case scenario, we'll pull this at more or less a break even. Don't love the price action today. Would have liked to have seen it, hang in this 38 area, upper 37s into low 38. So clearly, turning down here today. But let's see if this, is just a pullback. Maybe we'll, get another pop there in the coming days. So we're going to keep that one active for now. And CLF, Cliffs Natural, again, having trouble with this resistance spot. 1170 was the entry spot. Today's high was 1169. So not trading through that entry and tailing down off resistance. So clearly this mark definitely having its, you're seeing that effect there in CLF. So we'll keep it as pending for now, and we'll just watch and wait and see what happens. All right, on the short side, we'll start with LinkedIn. LinkedIn was, I just got it wrong. I just got this one wrong. Typically, after a large, move down like this, after making new highs, where you can see, we made these new highs, and we get this strong reversal into this open gap. Then we got a 2-day consolidation, and I'm trying to diagram this for you as best I can. Think about it more like a kind of a wedge. Typically, these things, these little short-term consolidations will result in the inbound direction. So this inbound was down, the outbound typically is down. Well, this one, we got a little bit of a gap down this morning, trading through my entry price of 222, gapping below yesterday's low, and just rallying right back up. So clearly, this 8-day EMA, although the candlesticks and the patterns suggested lower, clearly the market had a different agenda here. So this one just what else can I tell you? I got it wrong. So we're going to move this to a loss, about a 2% loss, maybe 2.2%. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you, but I think it's somewhere in that area. So not a huge loss, but nevertheless, one that I really did think would, turn down based on the price action here. So you can see the power of moving averages, case in point here. Again, if I were in hindsight, as I look at the trade, would I have done anything different? Is there anything that I missed? Are there any signals that I should have seen that I didn't see? Not really, to be honest. I've been watching this trade all day, and it's kind of been somewhat puzzling in the sense that, it just, again, here's more of an intraday chart. You can see, open, gapping down a little bit, and just, right out the get-go, just trading from 221.5 to almost 230, 229 in a matter of the first 25 minutes of the day. So, hard to see that coming based on the last couple of days. But nevertheless, that's the beauty of stops, and clearly this one getting stopped out, rather fast. So we'll just take it as a loss and move on. So I'll remove LinkedIn. GPro gapping down this morning. We got our entry last week. Entry was $80. So we got that entry signal last week, and gapping down this morning. I sent out an alert at around 9 a.m. And I believe at around 9 a.m. I said close out half your position. So depending on where you got to fill, probably should have been somewhere around the $75 or $76 mark. That was the sort of the price action at that time. If you had waited to the open, the opening price was about 70, just under 76. So which is where we where we're about to close. Where we closed. So basically, we can use that 75.80. I'm going to use that opening print as the closing price on the first half of the trade. I'm still going to keep GPro listed as an open position because there is a second half of the trade. So technically, we still have an open position here, and we'll manage it accordingly. I may issue another alert in the next day or two relative to the price action to re-enter that next half, so to get back to a full position. But we'll watch that. Like I said, that'll be more of an intraday thing in the next day or even the next 2 days. So keep your eyes for that. And like I said, so we're booking, half the position for, basically a free money, 5 or 6% gain. Like I said, off the top of my head, I don't know the numbers. And then we're gonna keep the other half open for now. I still think we go lower as the market, even relative weakness as the market, closed at new highs today. Clearly, no buyers. If we look at the, intraday, here's always an interesting. This was that bear flag pattern that I was looking at. We gapped down, rallied back, couldn't even get back to fill the gap, and then turned back down and closed on the lows. So in the event we get some consolidation, maybe down in the 75, 76 area, you'll see another trade alert on a break of 75. But we'll see. Again, I don't want to make any promises. Let's just watch price to see how it acts in the next like I said, the next couple of days. But GPro to me looks like it wants lower as well. CMG, real quick. Here's a daily. Not much change there. Again, the last 5 or 6 trading days, 4 or 5 trading days, kind of just hanging out. Inside day today, really narrow range relative to what we're used to in this stock. Could be the impetus for a larger move coming. This one's been, again, like I gave my comments and about it last night. I don't love the way it's trading right now. I thought we'd see more of a push lower after filling this earnings gap, from a couple weeks ago. But again, let's let price dictate it more than what I think. What I think is really just a function of what price tells me. So CMG still open, still kind of hanging out there. Stops are up here at 655, and that's it. That about wraps it up for the trades. Again, keeping it rather tight for now. Market's been tough, waiting for some sort of signs or signal. There's definitely a lot of writing on the wall. As the market goes up, I'm in pretty big amazement at some of these big cap tech names, leaders, things that have driven this market higher, aren't really following suit. Obviously, you have a whole bunch of strong stocks out there, but the ones that really have set the tone over the last couple of years, the Googles of the world. What else we got out there? Amazons of the world. Clearly not participating here net. Obviously, Amazon's got its own issues, but as the market continues to make new all-time highs, you got to ask yourself the question. Where's the leadership here? What's driving this market higher? Obviously, there's lots of stocks at or near highs, but to me, it just doesn't feel like there's that clear-cut leadership, take charge type of sector out there. Every sector has its strong and its weak stocks, but something that you could clearly point to and say, this is clearly leading the market higher, to me has been a tougher argument to make, in a very general sense. And obviously not looking to get into that, that debate with anybody. But the market, the market's doing what the market's doing. It's not my job to really care. It's my job to figure out how to make money from it. As always, have a nice night, and I'll talk to you later.